Top 20 Reese Witherspoon movies. Home Again. Recently separated from her husband, Alice decided to start over by moving back to Los Angeles with her two daughters. While celebrating her 14th birthday, Alice meets Harry, George, and Teddy, three young filmmakers who need a place to live. Complications soon arise when she agrees to let the men stay in her guest house temporarily. As Alice develops a budding romance with Harry, her newfound happiness comes crashing down when her ex shows up with a suitcase in his hand. Sweet Home, Alabama. New York fashion designer Melanie suddenly finds herself engaged to the city's most eligible bachelor. But Melanie's past holds many secrets, including Jake, the redneck husband she married in high school, who refuses to divorce her. Bound and determined to end their relationship once and for all, Melanie sneaks back home to Alabama to confront her past, only to discover that you can take the girl out of the South, but you can't take the South out of the girl. Vanity Fair. Born to poor parents, Becky Sharp has always aspired to be a member of England's upper classes. Leaving her boarding school and best friend Amelia behind, Becky associates herself with the Corleys, eventually falling in love with their son Roden. The marriage is happy at first, but deteriorates when Roden's fortune dwindles. Becky is then supported by the luxurious makers of Spain, whose motives are less than pure. Best laid plans. Returning to his dreary hometown as a wealthy man, Bryce is unaware of the target his financial gain has put on his back for schemers and crooks. When Bryce swings into a local bar, he happens to meet the seductive Lisa, and the two are at his place by the end of the night. But by the morning, Lisa turns blackmailer by claiming she is underage. In a panic, Bryce ties her up and turns to an old friend for help, but deception is everywhere. Fear. When 16-year-old Nicole Walker meets 23-year-old David at a Seattle nightclub, she falls in love. David is exciting and charming, and despite the wide age gap, he wins over Nicole's family except for her workaholic father Steven, who is suspicious of David from the start. His concerns are realized when David turns out to be a violent sociopath who sees Nicole as his possession, and her family home a fortress to be invaded. Legally Blunt. Ellie Woods has it all. She wants nothing more than to be Mrs. Warner Huntington III. But there is one thing stopping him from proposing. She is too blunt. Ellie rallies all of her resources and gets into Harvard, determined to win him back. This means war. CIA operatives FDR Foster and Tuck are inseparable best friends and partners. Together, their good looks, covert abilities, and combat skills rank them among the CIA's elite. But their long-standing personal and professional bond is put to the test when they meet Lauren. FDR and Tuck both fall hard for the beautiful blonde, turning their deadly skills and an array of high-tech gadgetry against each other in an all-out battle for her love. A far-off place. Noni, a South African girl who survives a masquerade by evil ivory poachers. She and the other survivor, a young arrogant American boy, flee across the vast Kalahari desert to escape. Their only help is an African bushman called Sabo, who helps them negotiate the grueling 2,000 kilometers journey. On the way, all three learns a lot about life and love in this great family. Just like heaven. David is a recently widowed architect moving into a new apartment in San Francisco. But the apartment isn't entirely empty. It's haunted by the ghost of a woman named Elizabeth. And although Elizabeth can't remember much about her life, she is convinced that she isn't really dead. While David recruits Daryl, an absent-minded psychic, to get to the bottom of Elizabeth's identity, he and Elizabeth begin to fall in love. Rendition. In North Africa, a suicide bomber unleashes hell in a city square, and an American CIA agent is amongst those killed. Investigations make a link to an Egyptian-born chemical engineer, Anwar, who is on his way from a conference in Cape Town to his home and family in the USA. As he gets off the plane in Washington, he is seized by CIA agents and questioned, then bundled onto a plane to Morocco, where he can be interrogated. Cruel intentions. Annette unwittingly becomes a pawn in Sebastian's and Catherine's deliciously diabolic wager of sexual conquest when she writes an article in 17 magazine about how she intends to stay pure until she marries her boyfriend. However, Sebastian gets more than he bargained for as he attempts to woo Annette into his bed. The importance of being earnest. Two young gents have taken to behind the truth in order to put some excitement into their lives. Worthing has invented a brother, Earnest, whom he uses as an excuse to leave his dull life behind to visit Gwendolyn. Moncrief decides to take the name Earnest when visiting Worthing's young and beautiful ward, Cicely. Things starts to go awry when they end up together in the country and their deceptions are discovered. Freeway. Following the arrest of her mother Ramona, young Vanessa Lutz decides to go in search of her estranged grandmother. On the way, she is given a ride by school counselor Bob Wolverton. During the journey, Lutz begins to realize that Bob is the notorious killer and manages to escape by shooting him several times. Wounded but still very much alive, Bob pursues Lutz across the state in this modern retelling of Little Red Riding Hood. Water for elephants. Jacob, a veterinary student, is close to graduating when a terrible tragedy forces him to leave school. With nowhere else to go, he hops on a passing train and finds it belongs to a traveling circus. Jacob takes a job as an animal caretaker and meets Merlina, a beautiful circus performer. Their shared compassion for a special elephant named Rosie leads to love, but August, Merlina's cruel husband, stands in their way. Wild. Driven to the edge by the loss of her beloved mother, the dissolution of her marriage, and a headlong dive into self-destructive behavior, Cheryl Strait makes a decision to halt her downward spiral and put her life back together again. With no outdoors experience, a heavy backpack, and little else to go on but her own will, Cheryl sets out alone to hike the Pacific Crest Trail, one of the country's longest and toughest through trails. Election. Jim, a well-liked high school government teacher, can't help but notice that successful student Tracy Flick uses less than ethical tactics to get what she wants. When Tracy runs for school president, Jim feels that she will be a poor influence on the student body and convinces Paul, a dim-witted but popular student athlete, to run against Tracy. When she becomes aware of Jim's secret involvement in the race, a bitter feud is sparked. The Man in the Moon. Maureen Tran and her younger sibling Danny share a strong connection, but local boy Scott Foster threatens to throw their bond off balance. Danny and Court meet first and have a flirtatious rapport, but when he meets Maury, he falls hard and they begins a passionate affair. The new couple try to keep their love hidden from Danny, but she soon learns the truth, disavowing her sister. But a heartbreaking accident reunites the girls. The Good Lie. After their village is destroyed and their parents killed by northern militia, Sudanese orphans Theo, his siblings, and other survivors make a difficult journey to a refugee camp in Kenya. 13 years later, the group gets the chance to settle in the US. They are met in Kansas by Carrie Davis, who has been charged with finding them jobs. However, seeing how adrift they are in 20th century America, Carrie endeavors to help them in rebuilding their shattered lives. Pleasantville. Impressed by high school student David's devotion to a 1950s family TV show, a mysterious television repairman provides him with the means to escape into the black and white program with his sister Jennifer. While David initially takes to the simplistic corny world of the show, Jennifer sets about jolting the characters with dust of reality that unexpectedly bring a little color into their drab existence. Walk the Line. Johnny Cash, an aspiring musician, receives a golden opportunity to tour with the famous John Carter. As Johnny's musical career takes a flight, his marriage with Vivian starts falling